Good morning to all my wonderful viewers out there. Today, we've got to talk about something in the streetwear world, and it is affecting not just the brand that we're going to be talking about today, but essentially almost every single brand that is planning on doing upcoming releases. Any brand that has anything to do with China, Italy, any brand that's in the coronavirus really infected areas, it's going to affect those brands. But today we're going to be focusing on one of our all-time favorite brands, and unfortunately they have been infected and affected by the virus. So in today's video we're going to be covering that Derschutze is going to be delaying their releases for about a month because of the coronavirus. Okay, just first, you know the world has been flipped upside down, and it's turning into the end of days if I'm wearing an anorak with a hoodie. A North Face one at that, but you know it's the end of the world if I'm deciding to wear this over a varsity jacket, overcoat, or a bomber jacket. This is not like me at all, but it's really cold. I am still a little bit sick, so I do want to stay warm, and must be the end of days. Must be the end of days. And talking about a Derschutze hoodie and Derschutze as a brand, I should probably update you guys on the status of the last hoodie that they released and the progress of that. So obviously I made a video covering that I managed to cop the Titans hoodie. I mean, that wasn't much of a surprise because Derschutze hoodies and releases at the moment are still quite easy to pick up. 1,000 times easier to pick up than any Supreme drop or anything like that. I did manage to pick up the Titans hoodie. They released the Titans hoodie and shirt. For me though, it was just the hoodie that I was interested in. I covered all that in all those videos. It has been shipped out. It got shipped out a little while ago. So actually, if the whole shipping sector in the world hasn't been affected by this virus, it should be arriving pretty soon. I'm hoping early next week. It's definitely not going to arrive today. If it arrived today, I would genuinely be surprised, and I would unbox it on the channel for you guys as well. But yeah, I just thought I'd update you on that. The Titans hoodie is on its way, and when it arrives, of course I'll unbox it on the channel for you guys. Now, moving on from the Titans hoodie to the prospects of the next Derschutze release. So I mentioned it when I was talking about the Titans hoodie, but Derschutze has been kind of quiet in its releases. We didn't know why. I mean, obviously the coronavirus has been around since I think even late November, early December of 2019, and it's only really blown up in February and March. But the brand went kind of quiet, and I didn't expect it to be the virus for the reason why the brand was going quiet. I thought they were working on just a bunch of pieces, and you know, they were just in the lab, you know, they were working on stuff. I thought that was the case, but no, it turns out that the actual brand was affected and is affected by the coronavirus. I was kind of shocked by that because the Derschutze pieces are made in Portugal, or at least the samples are made in Portugal. I don't know where the artwork is put on, like for any, okay, so to, you know, break it down, the samples, so the black hoodies, all the hoodies, everything like that, they are made in Portugal. The last time I checked, Portugal or Bangladesh, one of the two, and they would then be shipped off to, I assume, a second location to have the artwork applied to them, because they would just be basic hoodies made in Bangladesh or Portugal, and then they would be shipped off to a second location. The artwork would be applied to them. They might be stockpiled there, and then when they are released, they are shipped from that location to the consumers. Now, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if they go from sample to artwork applied to warehouse, and then warehouse to the consumers. I don't know how Derschutze works, but I assume it's something on the lines of that, right? Like, that's how I would see it with a company like that. Or it could just be samples are made, shipped straight to Derschutze. Derschutze themselves applies the artwork and then ships them out to the world itself. That could very much be the actual, you know, reality of the situation. It would lower the costs quite a bit. So it might be that third option there, because, you know, Derschutze does offer really good hoodies at a really good price. So I'm assuming if they want to keep costs down, maybe that's the way that they're going about it. Either way, They hadn't been I thought they wouldn't have been affected by the virus, but in a recent statement that they've made on Instagram on their story in the past 24 hours, apparently they have. Apparently the whole reason that they have not been releasing consistently and constantly in 2020 is because of the virus. They've struggled to, haven't gone into immense detail about it, but they've struggled to do releases because of that. So that makes a lot of sense, and I feel kind of bad for them as a brand. And there have been some brands that have hit me up saying the exact same thing, that they're trying to start up, they're trying to, you know, etc, 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 and they can't because of this virus, and it's super grim to see. So yeah, no, it's a weird time for the whole world, let alone the fashion and streetwear community, because obviously heaps of brands are affected by this, and this is one of the first brands that we know that have come out and made a statement about it. And I do really think as a brand you should definitely come out and make a statement about it, because what'll happen, just like in our case where I will talk about the brand, and because I'm ill-informed, I'll just talk about why I think the brand has slowed down, because I remember I thought it was all due to they're working on stuff in the lab and etc, 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 but it turns out it was actually the virus. And not to beat up Derschutze for not making this clearer earlier, it just definitely helps out your consumers if you release this kind of information earlier and talk about why the releases have slowed down, what hardships this will now involve, etc, etc, etc. It really does help out. So if you are an owner of a brand and you yourself have had to slow down releases because of the virus, I would say make a public statement about it. You're not going to hurt your image as a brand because of it, because everyone's had to cancel stuff. It's not going to make you seem weak as a brand for having to come out and say, hey, our releases are going to be slowed, stuff's going to slow down because of the virus. I don't think anyone's going to think negatively of you because of that. I mean, I wouldn't think negatively of a brand if they had to come out and say that, because I don't consider brands like invincible entities that are going to not be affected by this virus. It's definitely going to affect everyone. So yeah, no, it's a really interesting time for the streetwear and fashion community. But in today's video, I just wanted to go over the post that Derschutze has made on their story about, you know, expected times for the next release, all the details to do with that, what's happened. They've posted a little summary on their story, so I think we should just go over that, talk about that, and then yeah, speculate what's going to be the next release, I suppose. So without further ado, we'll head over to the story post, which I've obviously saved, and some of you guys have sent me, so thank you so much for you guys in the, you know, Derschutze community out there for sending it to me. But we'll head on over there now and we'll talk about why Derschutze has had to delay their releases because of the coronavirus. Okay, here we are, and I know it looks very generic. Like if you look at this Instagram story post, it's like this could have been anyone. There's no evidence that this is Derschutze. I mean, what were we expecting? They were expecting like a hoodie in the background, and then they'd do this announcement. I don't think so. I don't think so. But in saying that, you could have skepticism when looking at this, being like, this could just be a generic story post. But if you look now, it's still there on the Instagram story, but obviously if you watch this video like days later, it's going to be gone. So there have been people that have screenshotted and sent it to me, so it is legit. This is a story post by them. I know that I've got no indicators like, you know, their Instagram handle up here or anything like that, but don't worry, it is legit. Let's dive into what it actually has to say and go over that, talk about, I guess, the next release. We don't really have any details at all on what it's going to be, besides I assume it's going to be an embroidered hoodie, hopefully, but we're going to have to see. So, update. There haven't been any releases due to the coronavirus. Simple. I thought it was due to them working on a bunch of stuff, but it was actually the virus. Now, I don't doubt that they weren't working on a bunch of stuff. I'm assuming that they're working on a bunch of stuff right now, but they're just unable to get that past the brainstorming stage or the production stage because of the virus. So I'm sure they've got like a huge catalog at the moment of releases that Derschutze is going to release. You know, with all this time that they've had hooped up and they're not able to release anything, I'm sure the back catalog it could supply us for 2020 and beyond. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they have so much potential that they're sitting on, and they just can't do anything about it, which is really sad, because I want to cover all their like newer releases. I want to talk about all these new ideas they have in store, and we can't see anything because it can't be put into reality because of this virus, which is so sad, because I would love to see some more embroidered hoodies. We saw like some teasers of what might be coming up, because remember we covered some samples on the channel. We covered some stuff that they posted on their Instagram story before. Like, they were planning on doing like a LED one. They were planning on doing a shoe. Like, they're going all out here, guys. It looks like Derschutze has so many plans, so many ideas, and it's unfortunate that we have to see it being delayed because of this virus, because I would just love to cover it. But hopefully soon they can start coming back, and then they can start producing stuff again. And by the looks of this article, it looks like we do have a time frame, so it doesn't look like it's the end of the world yet. The coronavirus has been affecting the releases since January, and that's when I felt like it felt a little bit barren in their release schedule, because it was the Rainy Day hoodie was the last release of 2019. I remember because I went to the Falls Music Festival during that time, and everyone was copying it and stuff like that, and obviously I couldn't cop it because I was like partying it up in a mosh pit. I wasn't gonna, like, you know, try and buy it mid mosh pit. Phone up to the satellites, buy. I wasn't going to attempt to do that. I wasn't going to try and do that. So that was the last release of 2019, and then it went silent. It really did go silent. We got a couple posts on their story to do with, like, you know, upcoming like samples and stuff, but there wasn't anything solid. It was really quiet. And then we got the Titans hoodie and t-shirt announced to us, and then that released. But yeah, no, it was very barren for the start of 2020, and I was a little bit concerned because they hadn't done any updates like this before. I was like, oh no, what's going on? Are they unable to buy the samples anymore? Like, is that business shut down? Is there some kind of, you know, issue inside the brand internally? Like, is there some beef or something? Some people fighting over, like, you know, who owes who this much amount of money or something? I don't know. It could have literally been anything. My hopes was just that there was like they were working hard on something. That was my original thought. But it's crazy to think that the virus that started in, I've heard, late November to early December, affected them in January, and now only in like February and March are we seeing like the full-blown effects of this virus worldwide. It's pretty crazy stuff. But January, that's super early. Now that it's spread in Germany, things will slow down even more. So if we thought that it was going to be slow already, like if we thought January was barren, and then we only got a release in February, which was the oh no, it was in March that it got released, but it got announced in February, didn't it? The Titans hoodie. I can't remember the release details exactly for that. I cover so much stuff, I just forget the release details of half the stuff that I've covered. But yeah, it was a while till we heard anything, let alone an announcement that the Titans hoodie was coming. So to think that state of not hearing anything for January, announcing something in February, and then getting a release in March, 3-month span of one release. If we thought that was slow, now it says now it will spread in. Now that it's spread in Germany, things will slow down even more. If we thought that was slow, I can't imagine what we have, you know, coming for us now. Now that we thought that was slow, it looks like it's going to get even slower. Yikes. It sounds like we're not going to get that many releases over the next coming months. It feels like the Derschutze videos, guys, and I'm so sorry, will be like really barren for like the next couple months. And that's not on me. I'm sorry. I'll definitely cover anything that gets released or uploaded to their story. But yeah, no, this is crazy. This is crazy. I'm really sad to hear that, because I would have loved 2020 to be this brand's year. Like, if this virus did not exist, and like hypothetically we just had Derschutze releases week after week after week, I feel like they could have killed it, man. I feel like 2020 could have been the year that this brand really took off, because they really do offer a unique experience in the streetwear world that not a lot of people offer, you know? Like, everyone, not even just a brand, everyone can print hoodies, t-shirts, whatever. Everyone can scour the earth to find the perfect samples for their hoodies and stuff like that. but it really takes some really well put together thinking to find amazing samples for some hoodies and t-shirts and everything like that, to find independent, really small time artists to collaborate with, and to go from finding the artist, finding and buying the samples, to getting the artist's work on the samples and releasing the samples to the world at the price that they release them for. They've done a really good job at doing that so far. So I'm really sad to see that this is that this very unique brand has taken a hit. I really wanted them to take off in 2020, and yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Honestly, I wish the best for them, honestly. But it looks like, to finish it off, we are given a release date for potentially the next piece. Nevertheless, we are trying to start releasing items again in 2 to 3 weeks time. Now, emphasis on items, that could mean two things, because they use the plural here, but it could mean two things. So it could mean we're releasing multiple items in a singular drop, so like they did with the Titans hoodie, where they released a hoodie and a t-shirt, or they could mean plural in multiple releases and not necessarily multiple items in a single release. You know what I mean? So instead of releasing multiple items in a single drop, they could mean, by the phrasing of this, we are trying to start releasing items again. It could mean that they're trying to do regular releases, so constant releases, again in 2 to 3 weeks time. They could. It could be taken either way. So we could get inconsistent drops, but the drops have multiple items every couple months. So we could get, like, every 1.5 months we could get a drop that'll contain like 2 to 3 items, or we could be getting in 2 to 3 weeks time regular drops again. It could be one of the two. We don't know. They didn't clarify it too much. I'm not mad that they didn't clarify. It's all down to interpretation. I feel like what they're trying to say is that in 2 to 3 weeks time their schedule will be back up. But that's a big call. I don't want to make that official because I'm obviously not associated with the brand in any way. I don't want to make that call, because then they could release an item, it could do really well, and then they could find out the virus has knocked out the factory that makes their samples again for a month. You know, it could happen. We can't predict anything at this point in time. But it looks like, all in all, summarizing this whole paragraph that they've released on their story, it looks like Derschutze is trying to get their releases back on track. Very admirable, good on them. They're trying to get them back on track as soon as possible, because they are self-aware that January and February have been very, very light on releases. Literally one release. They are self-aware, they do know it, and they want to start making items again in 2 to 3 weeks time, which is honestly good on them. So what's the date today? I honestly forget half the time. So it's the 20th of March. So 2 to 3 weeks time, we're looking at mid-April, aren't we? We're looking at mid-April. I'm just gonna check the calendar real quick. So yeah, March 20th, 1, 2, move down to, okay, so we could be looking at, because they always release on Monday, we could be looking at a release as early as April 16th. As early as April 16th. That's the earliest, because this is 2 to 3 weeks. So if it's 2 to 3, 1, 2, that's the earliest. But if it's 3 weeks, 1, 2, 3 on the Friday, bam, it looks like it could be the 13th. So the next release that we could see from Derschutze will either be on the 6th or on the 13th, because as we know, they always release them on Monday, 6 p.m. CET time. That looks to be the case. That looks like the next release date for the next items. And it feels forever away, man. Looking at this, and then looking at the 6th or the 13th, there are so many days until that happens. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, or like, oh my god, hurry up, but it's a while away. It's a while away. I'm hoping that to fill in with the Derschutze content, we'll get a hoodie, we'll get the Titans hoodie like next week, like in this whole time frame here, and then it won't be too long until the next Derschutze video, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. It definitely looks like the Derschutze content will be a little bit low. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm sorry, but I'll definitely try and make as many videos as I can, as always. But it looks like it's going to be a little bit barren for a little while. But what can you do? I can't do anything. I can't speed it up. It's all to do with this virus, man. This virus has literally killed the streetwear world, and it will affect sneakers as well sometime soon. So just to go on that quite quickly. So as much as this has affected the streetwear world, where brands are announcing that it's going to be a delay in a lot of releases, all that kind of jazz, the reason that sneakers, and the reason why I've been doing so many sneaker videos at the moment, is because the sneakers that are releasing were planned months ago. That's why we saw samples and why I covered teasers of sneakers that will then release like 3 months later, because sneakers take a long time to produce and, you know, in large quantities, and to release to the public. So when they actually announce a release date for a sneaker, they produce those sneakers like months ago, like 2-3 months ago, and they're getting ready to be shipped off. That's why the sneaker releases are still really consistent, and that's why I've been able to cover them for a while. But because that virus hit in early December, February, January, that means everything that they had planned to start being produced in February, January. So I would say everything that's scheduled to be released in late April, May, June, maybe even July, I reckon everything in those periods are going to be pushed back even further, because they've had to cancel or probably slow down the production of them making those shoes now in February, January, and March that we're going to release in April, May, and June. Do you know what I mean? The production in the early months of the year for those sneakers that were going to be released in the second quarter of the year, like halfway through the year, that's going to be delayed because the virus has just knocked out like a lot of Chinese sweatshops and factories and all that, because obviously the virus started in China. So yeah, even though I'm definitely covering a lot of sneaker releases now, that's because they were produced months ago, and I reckon around May and June and July, it's going to get a little bit barren. It is going to be a little bit barren, which is really sad, because a lot of the sneaker releases that are set for May, my birthday month, they're looking kind of fire. They're looking like they're going to release some crazy stuff in May. So I'm kind of disappointed about that, but we're just going to have to play it by ear, see what happens. At least it looks like the streetwear world, the fashion world is coming back. Now that it's easing up in China and you know, all the places in Asia, it looks like the virus is easing up a little bit in that area. So hopefully the streetwear releases will be able to come in and take over when the sneaker releases get a little bit barren. But in saying that, that's on my assumption that the sneaker releases are going to get delayed. They could just be going ahead as usual, and it could be totally fine. We'll just have to see. But I wouldn't be surprised if the sneaker releases that are planned to release halfway through the year are going to be delayed or, you know, put on hold for a little while. It could happen. It could happen. We're just going to have to see. It's 2020. What a way to start the decade, am I right? 2020 is a wild year. But yeah, anyway, back to Derschutze, back to the streetwear world. Yeah, I'm happy to see the brand say that they're going to come back in about a month's time. I'm super keen to see what they're going to release. I'm super keen to unbox the Titans hoodie for you guys. I don't know what they're going to release for their first release in 2 to 3 weeks time. If we do see a sample of what we're going to get in 2 to 3 weeks time, of course I'll post a video about it for you guys. But yeah, no, wild times. Nobody could have predicted this. Oh, well, I mean, nobody pre-November, December could have predicted this. There were a lot of people in November and December saying this was going to be a pandemic, and nobody listened. Classic people not listening, you know? It was going to happen. So yeah, interesting stuff. It really shows how much it affects the global economy as a whole, not just like certain sectors like tourism and stuff like that. It really does just affect the whole world. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Either way, I'm keen to see Derschutze do more releases. I'm keen to see what they come up with. Hopefully the virus, you know, dies off in around like 4 months time, and then we'll get back to our normal schedules, but we're just gonna have to see, guys. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts and opinions. Has anything that you love that does regular releases been affected? Are you really bummed out that Derschutze is taking a while to release stuff? Obviously you understand why, but how do you feel about it all? Are you keen to see the next release? I really just hope in 2 to 3 weeks time they release an embroidered hoodie coming back, because that'll be a good comeback. That'll be a good comeback, and it'll please a lot of the community that loves the brand. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see what they release. I'm hoping it's an embroidered hoodie. If they do like a very special edition embroidered hoodie, I'd be keen to see what they do. You know, I reckon that could be really cool. But as I said, we're just gonna have to see what happens. Yeah, let me know all your thoughts and opinions on the coronavirus affecting all these businesses. your your schedules with the releases. How do you feel about that? If you're a business owner, how's it going for you? You're trying to start up a brand, how's that going for you with this virus going on? Just let me know all your thoughts and opinions on Derschutze's delayed releases, what you think the next release is going to be, how the coronavirus is affecting the brand and other brands. Let me know everything you've got to say about that on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or, as always, in the comment section below. That's it, guys. That is everything I really have to say about Derschutze's delayed releases due to the coronavirus. I mean, there wasn't too much to cover, even though I dragged on about it for ages, but yeah, it's interesting just how big of an effect this virus has on just all forms of the market, from tourism, yada yada yada. The simple things like a little indie German brand that wants to release hoodies with a little bit of artwork. It's crazy. From the biggest hitters to the smallest hitters, it affects everyone. Wild times, wild times. 2020, not a good start to the decade, man. We had Kobe Bryant passing away. We had my country on fire. We've had this virus really kick off in March. Just not good. It's just not looking good. I'm not ready for April. I don't want a meteorite to hit the planet in April. Like, Jesus, man. Tragic times. My God. Wow. Woo. Well, that's it. That's everything I have to really say about it. And can I just say, while recording this video, man, I don't know if it's the Derschutze cotton mixed with the North Face jacket, but I now see, it's been a massive experience for me. Open my eyes. I now see why people rock Anorex. Oh, it's just, I'm so comfy. I could sit in my chair and go to sleep right now. I think I'm gonna have to buy some more Anorex and get around it, because I'm just gonna fall asleep right here. I could do it. It's just, I'm so mad comfy. I don't even want to go to work later today. I'm ready to fall asleep in my chair. My eyes have been opened to the power of Anorex. And you mix it with a hoodie, it ain't even that bad. It actually is kind of fresh. Eyes open. Be prepared. I'm going to start buying them up and unboxing them on the channel and stuff. I've been changed. I'm no longer a varsity jacket, bomber jacket, and overcoat kind of guy. We're moving on to the North Face gear. And that's it. That's all we need. No, but for real, if I see like a fly-ass bomber jacket or varsity jacket or overcoat, I'm sorry, I'm confident over an Anorex, man. I'm doing it to them, but man, these are mad comfy. I now understand. I've turned a new page, people. I've now woken up. It's crazy times. But yeah, that's everything I have to say about the Derschutze release. Sorry we kind of trailed off there, but I just had to mention it to you guys. I'm now on the train. I'm now feeling the vibe. I feel it now, but it's unfortunate that we're gonna have to wait about a month to see the next release. That's okay. I'll definitely cover it on the channel. I'll definitely unbox the Titans hoodie for you guys. So don't stress about that. If the video hasn't come out, it's not because I've forgotten about you fellas. It's just, it hasn't arrived. The shipping, as we always know, just takes a little while to get to Australia. So it's just that. But that's everything we really have to talk about when it comes to the coronavirus affecting Derschutze. So until the next Derschutze video, guys, until the next, well, I'm not going to say the next coronavirus video, not going to say that, but until the next, well, actually, maybe there might be more brands that we know that might cancel on us. So maybe until the next coronavirus video, until the next sneaker video though, guys, that one's confirmed. Definitely till the next sneaker video. I'll catch you later.